In 2015, one of the most daring, audacious, and unbelievable escapes in the history of the world went down in Mexico. Joaquin El Chapo Guzmán, the notorious kingpin of the Sinaloa cartel, had already made a name for himself as one of the most wanted men on the planet. But it was his escape from the maximum security prison of Altiplano that cemented his status as the criminal mastermind of the century. Born in 1957 in the mountains of Sinaloa, Mexico, Joaquin Guzmán Lora grew up in poverty. By his early adulthood, he had already begun working with drug cartels, eventually rising to power as the head of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most powerful and violent criminal organizations in the world. His cartel was responsible for smuggling enormous amounts of drugs into the United States and beyond. Cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine. El Chapo was the gatekeeper of these illicit goods, creating a web of crime that spanned continents. His cunning, ruthlessness, and ability to stay one step ahead of law enforcement made him an international fugitive for years. In 1993, after a bloody reign of terror, El Chapo was arrested and sentenced to 20 years in prison for murder and drug trafficking. But this was just the beginning of his complex relationship with the law. In 2001, he pulled off a near-miraculous escape from a different prison, the Punta Grande Maximum Security Prison in Jalisco, Mexico. The way he managed to get out then would foreshadow his later prison break. Fast forward to 2014, El Chapo had been captured again and placed in Altiplano, one of Mexico's most secure prisons. Located just outside Mexico City, Altiplano was designed to be escape-proof, with high-tech surveillance and extensive guard patrols. El Chapo, however, was undeterred. His reputation as a master of manipulation and bribery was well known. Still, many believed that this time, no one could break him out. But El Chapo had a plan that would shake the world to its core. In July 2015, El Chapo managed to escape from Altiplano in a way that stunned both law enforcement and the public. His escape was meticulously planned and involved an underground tunnel. It all started with a seemingly innocuous visit from his lawyers. These lawyers, who were likely in on the plan, had access to his cell. Over time, they helped him prepare for the escape, smuggling in materials and tools that would be crucial for what came next. From his cell, El Chapo and his accomplices spent weeks digging a tunnel that led directly to a house in a nearby area, miles from the prison. The tunnel was 1.5 kilometers, nearly a mile long, and it was fully equipped with lights, ventilation, and a motorcycle on rails to speed up the transport of materials and El Chapo himself. On the night of July 11, 2015, El Chapo executed his escape. Around 8 p.m., he told his guards he was taking a shower. Instead, he made his way to the small opening in his cell that led to the tunnel entrance. He crawled through the narrow tunnel, making his way through darkness, dirt, and concrete. After 18 minutes, he emerged from the tunnel at a construction site, his escape point. His accomplices were waiting there, ready to whisk him away on the motorcycle. Experts later revealed the sophistication of the tunnel. It had been dug by a crew of skilled workers and was reinforced with steel beams, lined with plastic, and even had a system for draining water. It was like something out of a heist movie. The tunnel's exit opened in a home that was already prepared with a getaway vehicle, and El Chapo was off to freedom in the dead of night. The escape was a huge embarrassment for Mexican authorities, who had spent millions trying to keep El Chapo behind bars. But what was even more shocking was the fact that they were unaware of the tunnel until El Chapo was long gone. Once the escape was discovered, a massive manhunt ensued. Mexican authorities, along with U.S. officials, searched the country for El Chapo. The Sinaloa cartel's leader was now back on the run, but he wasn't just a fugitive, he was a symbol of how far a criminal could go to evade the law. For 6 months, El Chapo was in hiding, moving between safe houses and protected by the cartel. But his reign of freedom wouldn't last long. On January 8, 2016, Mexican Marines captured him again, ending his second stint of freedom. After his recapture, El Chapo was extradited to the United States, where he faced charges of drug trafficking, money laundering, and a series of violent crimes. In 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison. His legacy, however, lives on. El Chapo remains a symbol of both the power and the fragility of the criminal underworld, and his daring escapes remind us just how much influence money and power can have even inside the world's most secure prisons. El Chapo's story is far from over, but his escape from Altiplano will forever be one of the most mind-boggling and high-stakes moments in the world of crime. I hope you found this information valuable and insightful. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more content.